What's going on? Oh, sorry, I got this on mute. All right, what's going on, guys? I'm back again doing another live stream. We're going to be drawing in the sketchbook again today. So, lighting's a little bit bright. Let me figure this out. There we go. So, just setting up the screen right now. Let's see, where did I have it last? Here we go. Okay, cool. So we should be good to go. Awesome. Not sure if you guys can hear all the noise in the background. Every time. Got an eraser this time. Be a little bit easier to draw. So looks like there's no one on the stream just yet. I posted to Facebook like a little while ago, and I'm just gonna pull up YouTube now. Okay, got it almost all figured out. There we go. Okay, 6. So I got everything there shared and ready to go and posted. Starting to get a little bit better at getting this set up. Looks like we have no one on the stream just yet. Not too big a deal. Let's get it all set up really fast. Still giving me some issues. All right, there we go. Okay, so no one's on the stream yet. Just wanted to kind of explain. I couldn't really figure out Twitch today, so I know I said I was going to do the Twitch stream today and have that be my first one, but I really couldn't get it all figured out just yet with what I have at my disposal. So sorry about that. If you went to Twitch first, or if you're watching this later on, hopefully I'll have that figured out by tomorrow or later on in the week. I'll be able to do the first Twitch stream. So it's just been a little confusing getting it all set up, but we're just going to draw again today. Prepared this time. I got everything I need. Get your favorite spring water and get to work. So I'm just drawing over this bleed through on this skull. I do that a lot actually in my sketchbooks just so I can see, or just so I like don't waste the page. So that's something that I do all the time. So people always ask like, oh, like why do you have multiple skulls of like the same design when people flip through my sketchbooks, which isn't too often, but that seems to be something they always ask. And it's just because there's like a bleed through on the page, so I'm just trying to utilize it. And this is just a warm up. Again, I haven't really planned what I'm going to draw. I'm just doing some drawing for fun. So if anyone has suggestions, you can throw them out there. But for the most part, I'm just planning to do some fun drawing tonight. Okay, let's see. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a slower stream. Had like one person that joined a little while ago. I'm just going to keep drawing, and I'll try to like look up periodically to see if anyone's joined. If there's any questions. Sorry about the noise in the background. Hey, what's up? Always skulls. Always drawing skulls. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm gonna probably stick with YouTube for now. I tried to figure out the Twitch thing today and I just completely messed it up. So hopefully I'll have it figured out for videos in the future. Oh no, I was just saying I couldn't figure out Twitch before I started the live stream tonight. I was gonna try to do my first Twitch stream ever, but I couldn't figure out what was going on with it. I like messed it all up. So might try to do that later on this week if I figure it out. Doubtful, but I'm being optimistic. But so far, everyone seems to like YouTube over Twitch. At least out of my following from the post I had on Instagram. There's like a little poll on there, and everyone seems to think the YouTube's better. So maybe I won't do Twitch at all. We'll see. My mic too has been acting a little weird. I think I gotta like reposition it next stream. All right, kind of done warming up. Let's see. I'm gonna put the. I'll just move the chat thing down a little bit so I can see. A little bit larger than that. Sorry, I'm like moving things around on my screen. So that one. Okay, cool. So yeah, I just I drew this skull last night and like all the stuff on this page, and then today, I don't know what I'm gonna draw yet. I think I'm gonna do something else. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not tattoo inspired this time. Let's see. Hmm. Searching references real quick. Yeah, if I can figure that out, that'd be awesome. We should do like a, if there is a way to do that at the same time, I'd be so down to do a like a dual stream. Got like a million windows open trying to find things right now. Hmm. Think. I think I'm gonna draw some weird, maybe some wolf heads. Of course, every time I go live, I never know what to draw, and then before I'm going live the entire day, I'm like, oh, I can draw this, and then when it comes to it, I always forget what my ideas were for the day. I think I'm just gonna, I think I'm just gonna go for it and just draw like a weird. I don't know. We'll see what comes up out of it. I'll try not to draw a skull today, because that's what I always am doing. Yo, Instagram, yeah, we should do that. And a Sphinx cat, that's perfect. These are awesome suggestions. Okay, so a Sphinx cat would be really rad to do. Let me find another one right there. Sphinx cat, 6 arms. Oh man. And 6 arms. All right, sweet. Getting a couple good cat references. Some weird images. The 6 arms might be hard for me to get down, but I definitely need to do a good Sphinx head, I think. Okay. Yeah, I should check them out. If you want, you can post a link in the chat. I don't mind. You can post the link to stuff in the chat. This thing has like a lot of sick detail. Actually, I like it. Hell yeah. I'm pumped. I want to try to get a Discord server going. Someone suggested it to me yesterday on the last stream, so I can have like a bit more of a live interaction with people where they can like kind of post stuff and share whatever they're doing. I'm sorry it's super quiet. I can't put music in the background because I can get flagged by YouTube, which sucks. But trying to figure out a way to do that so it's not like so silent. I think there's like some royalty free music I can like have at least going on in the background. Just gotta figure out what it is. All right. These ears are like crazy on these things. I've never actually looked at them this long. Yeah, someone was telling me there's like royalty free music I can have playing in the background, so it's just not the weird sound of me me breathing into the microphone. So I was like watching the stream back a little bit last night after I played it, and I was like, that's weird. Yeah, it's growing. It's finally getting better. I've had this mic for a while, and then it's a Blue Yeti microphone. And Blue had a sale or like started this other setup where it's like a the mic plus the boom arm. It was basically the same price as what I originally got the first mic for. So I ended up having like a second one, and then like the lighting and stuff is all just like simple cheap prop lights. But when I first started, I used this LED sign I made. There's like a video of it on my channel, like where I cut a sign, and I was using that as um, my practical lighting for like the whole stream. But picked up some cheap little prop lights, and it definitely makes the space look better because otherwise it's super messy and looks like trash. But hey, it's all smoke and mirrors here on the Wolfpits channel. This thing looks so alien. A little bit better. All right, I think I'm going to start inking now. I usually do like super rough stuff in all my sketchbooks. I like did that recent sketchbook tour and kind of showed that all my sketches are really sloppy like this. And then usually when I actually move to a nicer paper or something, I'll start to kind of fine tune it. And then sometimes I'll have more rendered things in sketchbooks, but for the live streams, it's a little tricky because I'm not pulling out the tracing paper and all that to fine tune lines and whatnot. And I might do another digital art one tomorrow. It's a little bit easier for me, but we'll see what I end up doing. If I actually have time to stream tomorrow, I'm going to try to do it every day for the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I used to tattoo. I was an apprentice for quite a while, and then I had a big surgery. But then I stopped really tattooing, and I promised the shop I was trying to apprentice at the time that I wouldn't try to tattoo outside of a shop, and I took it pretty seriously just because bloodborne pathogens are pretty serious, and I wanted to take the traditional route of going through an apprenticeship, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out. But a lot of the stuff that I have and the style of the stuff I make is definitely reminiscent and inspired by that. So maybe one day I'll get back into tattooing and try to pursue it again. But it doesn't look like anyone's tattooing professionally in any shop anytime soon. So hopefully things get a little bit better and all my tattoo artist friends can get back to work. I think I'm gonna be on the stream probably for like a little bit longer, maybe like another 45 minutes to an hour. Where I'm just kind of going for it and just gonna ink this out, and then maybe I'll call it a little early tonight because the 2 hour streams I don't mind doing them if I'm like in the flow, but the way this is set up, it's a little hard to draw because I have to like look straight up and then also like angle my eyes down so you guys can see everything. Otherwise, the sketchbook would be at a weird angle. So once I have a tripod and this all figured out, I'll be able to properly set it up. But for now, this is what I can actually do. But hopefully it gets better. slowly improving the stream every time, I feel like. Definitely a lot better than the first one. And I'm drawing with the same pen I was doing yesterday. This is the 1.5 Faber-Castell pen. I just have a little grip on there. This is actually like it's called grip tape, and it's tattoo artists use this a lot as well. So people always ask me that. You should stream more. I'd watch. I'd be down. I'm still pretty new to YouTube. I just got the 1 year mark, and it's finally the channel's like really starting to pick up momentum, which is awesome. But yeah, I'm having fun with the streaming. It's definitely different. It's weird. I'm afraid I'm going to constantly mess up because it's live, but at the same time, I don't really care enough about sketchbooks to stress about it too much. And it's kind of like the fun part, showing people how raw my stuff is in the beginning. It's never clean. It's always like this. I never draw something that's perfect the first time. I always have to draw it like 2 or 3 times to really get the line work down and how I want it to look. Kind of getting rid of that stigma and the idea of unobtainable standards when it comes to just drawing something simple. I think that's one of the problems that happens with YouTube because it is really curated. People get a large misconception about what they're able to achieve because they see these people drawing on these platforms and don't realize that it didn't come out like that the first time. You know, like there's a sketch underneath that painting, or like a lot of people don't realize that's what goes into a lot of art. And it's actually more impressive to me seeing those steps than it is seeing someone bang out like a really well edited short about their whole drawing process or whatever it might be for a piece. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm gonna do some other heavy inking on here. All right. It's not as many shadows on this as I thought there would be. But I think I'm just going to keep it with a classic kind of comic book styled inking. And again, normally I would sketch with a pencil first. Yeah, is there a lot of lag today? Oh, sorry, that's my neighbors. Let me just check what's going on with my phone. Sometimes that's the issue because I'm filming with that. It doesn't seem like anything's reacting, but there could be. Yeah, the lag is getting pretty bad, huh? All right, I'm starting to see it now. There's a really bad latency. I don't know how to fix that. I think it's my Wi-Fi, unfortunately. And sorry for all the noise. My microphone picks up everything when people are outside. I live on the first floor of an apartment building, and it picks up every little sound. And normally when I'm inking, I would actually turn this page, but it's really hard to see what's going on. Yeah, might have to turn it a little bit, guys. Sorry. It's hard to pull the lines as tight. And I don't normally ink with this pen either. I usually use a Zebra brush pen. It's a little bit more forgiving, and the tip doesn't splay out as easily as these Pentel ones do for the larger Pentel brushes. The regular Pentel Pocket brush pen's my go-to for inking in my sketchbook, but I'm out of cartridges, so this is what I got. It's not too bad. It's just not as like controllable as some of the other ones that I've used. Yeah, so I have a blue light and a purple light. They're these little tiny prop lights. I'm not sure their brand. I found them on Amazon. They were pretty cheap. And they have this little remote, and I can change all the colors and stuff. So I can go from like on one side and I'll hit like yellow, and then it'll change the hue of the light. So you get like a totally different look. Can change it to like a green, and just keep kind of cycling through the colors, all sorts of different things. There's a little bits of tracing paper that I put in front of them to diffuse them, otherwise they're too harsh. But you can change all the colors and you can make them do all sorts of craziness. But I kind of like the blue and the pink look. I tried like this green, reddish, orange look, and it had like a cool like horror movie vibe, but then it started to feel a little too Christmas for me. So still messing around with, but I think the pink and the blue are going to be probably a part of the streams for quite some time. I just like how it looks, and it hides all the background masks the best, so I can make like a real set. But I'm working out of my bedroom, so a little difficult. One of the things you can do too, if you are wearing gloves, I always try to wear gloves when I'm drawing. Just being left-handed, I smudge all the time. And yesterday I smudged a bunch because I wasn't wearing gloves and ended up putting more on. but you can actually take the rubber glove because it's not as absorbent, and you can brush ink onto it, and you can actually sweep up. I'm not sure how well that's picking up on camera, but it gives you a nice like little gradiated shading on the tip of the glove, or sorry, from like the tip of your finger on the glove, and you can shade it out, and it gives you a nice little gradiated effect. So it works really well if you want to try to render something or the idea of something really quickly, or even using a water brush, which I might bust out on another stream with some nicer paper. But those will be a little bit more planned out. These are just kind of spontaneous and fun. And you can do the same thing just on the paper if you prefer, if it's easier. If you need to like get up against a line, so you just let the line down and then use your finger that way and pull it up. And it does add artifacts if you're not careful on the page, but I kind of like the messiness look of it, so it doesn't bother me too much. I need to get like an on-air sign to put in my windows so my neighbors like can chill out. That's all I can hear. I'm not sure how much you guys can hear it on the mic. I hear it through the sample on the headphones, but oh yeah, so there is a way to do it. I did see that with the OBS. So you can stream with OBS, and I'm using Streamlabs just because the interface is very intuitive for me. But I don't have enough subscribers yet on YouTube where I can just use my phone. So I need to trick my phone or trick the server to think that I'm using just my desktop, and I'm just basically using a screen share program with my iPhone, and basically I'm using that as like the air server screen, and I use that as a window in OBS. So it looks like it's a webcam, but it's actually just my phone. So it might be a little bit better, but until I reach, I think, a monetization point on YouTube, I can't just use my phone directly, which kind of sucks. And the microphone is Blue. That's the brand. It's Blue microphones. The one that I use is the Blue Yeti. It's a USB mic. It's a condenser microphone. It's really nice for the price. You can get this whole like setup with like a shock mount and like the mic itself and a boom arm for under $300, which is insane. It's definitely worth it. I'm also about to start a podcast in hopefully the next few weeks with one of my friends. We've been talking about it for quite some time, so pick this up as like a multi investment piece. But if you are looking for like a good microphone that's easy to use and you don't need a whole audio interface, I really recommend any of the microphones from Blue. They just had a sale on this like broadcaster set when I ordered it, so that's why I like went with it. But I was using a Blue Yeti before for my YouTube videos for my narrated stuff, but it's really great stuff. Yeah, I'm also going to try to stick to using just darker colors when I'm on the stream just because there's not enough light with the pencil. Yeah, so the podcast, there's a few ideas for it. One of them was going to be a creative podcast, obviously. So there might be more than one. And then the other one was actually going to be about like kind of weird, spooky stuff that we're into, and like about weird, like occult objects and symbolism and how they kind of represent in modern day and how they've been twisted through the centuries to mean something completely different. So we're still kind of working on that. There's a lot of podcasts with a similar niche for sure, but we just kind of want to have fun and mainly focus on things based in the Boston, Massachusetts area in the beginning, and then maybe branch out. We definitely won't be able to get to the 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 hype of lore or like LPN, but would be sick to just kind of do our own thing and be able to kind of sit within the similar genre of weird podcast. But the creative one would be sick. I think we'd do a lot more like lowbrow stuff and toy artist and just kind of more niche things. Try to highlight the Boston scene a bit, just because the Boston scene has always been one of those neglected by other city type areas. I feel like for the art scene, but it's getting better. Like there's more people down to do things than there has ever been. So I'm excited to see what the future brings. Yeah, like that's the main thing. Like we don't really care if it goes anywhere. Like we would be talking about this stuff together anyway. We're just gonna record our conversations basically. Like we would be already ranting and raving about weird craziness uh, on a day to day conversation. So, oh yeah, so I guess it's a little weird. Like I guess I am an artist. I'm an illustrator and graphic designer. I work freelance for the most part, and I've worked for the last, I'd say about professionally 8 years in the skateboard and surf industry, specializing more so in the skateboard industry. But I've worked for Converse. I've done work with Expedition One skateboards, some other local smaller skateboard companies, Corner Store Skateboards, a few other small ones recently, quite a few of those. But most of my stuff is kind of all over the place. So I'm a toy designer, I'm an illustrator, graphic designer, and collector of weird things. That's pretty much my resume. That's what I would tell people. My art style, I don't really think that I have one, but a lot of people say that I do. So I just kind of let them describe it for me, and I'm usually okay with it because I'm so bad at like hyping my own self when it comes to my art. But I grew up in Massachusetts, like in the Boston area and in the Blackstone Valley area, and then just kind of have been all over the place. Was in New York for a bit, but back in Massachusetts, I've been back in Massachusetts for like over 10 years, so it's pretty much home. I work right now. I'm obviously out of work like everyone else, and I had just finished my most recent contract was with Converse in their graphics department, and then before that, I was doing a contract with Converse as well, but in innovations and like their engineering and science. So a bit of a broad spectrum of different interests and things professionally. I don't know. I'm a bit like a nerd that I think has a slightly better taste than the average big nerd. That's it. And even then, it's like questionable taste. All right, so there's like the cat head, and I gotta like figure out the six arms bit. I'm not really sure how to do that. The worst company I've worked for or collaborated with. Oh my god. Oh man, you're gonna get me in trouble. um, well, Converse was interesting to work with for sure. I liked working with the people at Converse, but being contracted, like any company you work for, when you're contracted, it's a bit of a hassle. You're usually like the last thought about when resources are kind of divided up. And when there's nothing to do, it's kind of like weird being there because everyone else is running around and knowing what to do. And being a freelance person without direction at a company like that can be confusing. And I also had like one of the worst computers going in just because they didn't have resources at the time to get me a new one. So it's a little disorganized in any company that hires freelancers like me. It's been the same experience across the board for every company that I've worked for on a contract. But as far as like worst clients go, I'm not going to say any names, but I can say the industry for sure. It was actually a skateboard company just starting out, and the client was very young, but had the funding to start the company. and didn't realize certain graphics would be very offensive, and I had to kind of educate them on like they can't do certain things and I won't draw certain things because they're just offensive. They weren't racist or anything like that. They were just completely like some white kid that has zero culture in his life and has no understanding how the world works kind of thing. But we were able to come to a conclusion. We made a graphic they were pretty happy with, and that was sort of the end of it. I kind of separated from that and didn't work with them again. And then I've had like a ton of horror clients. I did a mural for a smoke shop in the Boston area that's already got kind of a rough reputation, and they screwed me pretty bad out of a couple grand, and I painted a really massive space. There's actually a YouTube video somewhere on well, I'm not going to share it. It's not on my channel, it's on another channel. I'm not going to share it because it'll give the name of the company if I do. But the owner of that unfortunately kind of burned a lot of people on this job, and I was one of them. So that really sucked because I was just working in there for like a month and kind of waiting on payment and had to fund a lot of the paint myself, and I got pretty burned on it. But you know, you learn, you live and you learn to say no to things. And then on like sort of like a regular basis, being a freelancer, you kind of run into some kooks out there that are they're a little bit nefarious in how they talk to you, and it's a little easier to spot now that I've had those bad experiences. So I really wouldn't trade them. Oh, and I guess the other thing like about me is that I'm self-taught. I did not go to art school, so that comes up a lot when I go places. I always get asked like what school I went to, and I didn't go to one. I started going to art institutes, but pretty quickly I realized that I wasn't really learning much, and I was starting to get work professionally, so I left. But that's like a whole other story time in itself I could talk about, because I can talk like shit about them and not care, because art institute was really bad for me when I went. I got pretty screwed over on that with scholarships. They like stole a bunch of scholarship money, and then that's actually why I stopped trying to go to school, was because they had taken pretty much all the scholarship money I had for an entire year and could not go anywhere else. I couldn't transfer anywhere else because I had no money. So yeah, screw those guys. They're like closed down. I don't even think there's like any of them left. But they basically offered me like a full ride, and me coming where I come from, kind of thinking I wouldn't have college in my future at all, I jumped on the opportunity, and it just was kind of a waste of time. Yeah, and losing a couple of grand is a little rough with that other client too, for sure. But like I said, like it was a bad experience at the time, and it was pretty rough timing in my life when it happened. But to be honest with you, it was for the better. It definitely made me realize that I am of a certain value. I know that I'm worth a certain value, and now I can ask for it pretty confidently. And it's also easier to spot the red flags when like someone might screw you over intentionally or unintentionally. It just happens. Like people are just human, you know. Sometimes people just don't understand what goes into a process, and they don't understand the value of it until they're halfway in, and they either like take the time and listen and learn about it, or they just kind of burn you. Okay, yeah. I'll be here. I'm still drawing. Come back whenever. We're just having fun, drinking lots of fun canned water. All right. I should see if I can get a sponsor for the for the live streams. Drink a lot of seltzer and a lot of water, so that would be pretty good. If anyone knows the polar hookup, let them know. And I'm just cutting back with this gel pen again. I talked about this in yesterday's stream too. I use these the Signo Uniball gel pens. They're like my favorite one. And they cut away on black ink once it's dry really nicely. And you can get really nice little highlights in there. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Now I think I need some blue. I should have thrown the blue on before I did the inking, but that's all right. I don't really like their. I wish I liked their seltzer because it's all I can like find anywhere. Um, but yeah, yeah, anybody at this point, I'd get used to it. I've been drinking the Liquid Death seltzer for a while, and now I'm like on like I've had like the regular water before. It's just like funny and inconvenient, but it's like a fun company doing something different. So like I'm down to support them. Trying not to drink soda anymore. It's like the saddest thing ever. And I don't even really like soda that much. It's just now that I'm trying not to drink any of it, all I want to do is just like chug the most disgusting soda I can find. So I'm switching back over seltzer only and like water only for like the foreseeable future. Okay. Okay, there's the weird Sphinx cat thing. I think there needs to be some shading in there. Let's see. There we go. A little bit more color in there. And then just need to grab a pink marker. Actually don't have one at my disposal, so it looks like we're going with a really crazy red. Oh wait, actually. That might work. Weird brown tones. Their noses are kind of darker. Nope, good enough. Yeah, it's just sparkling water. There's like a million brands that make it. It's the most generic thing that you can have on the planet, but I love it. Yeah, I never really drank soda before, and then I just like was drinking a lot of it and had to stop myself. I normally don't like really sugary things. I'm more of a like spicy and salt, and that's it. Water champ, yeah, that's me. Wolf Pitts, the water champ, the water drinker. But lately, I haven't been drinking a lot of water because I'm just like locked inside. And I just kind of sit there and I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything today. And then I won't drink water for like 3 days somehow. So I got to get better about it, get back into drinking lots of water. Where do I see myself in the future? Able to afford an apartment where I can live by myself, not having to deal with annoying clients that are rude. Yo, I could drink salt all day too. Yeah, I don't know. I see myself either if I'm still in Boston, not struggling to make the bare minimum like every other artist here, and then maybe opening up a small design studio where I can make cool stuff with my friends. That's really all I want to do. Get back into painting walls and not have to like make my main focus about trying to just float here, because Boston's one of those cities that's getting more and more expensive and the quality of life is just dropping more, even more exponentially than it ever has. So I'm hoping things kind of get better after this and people are a little more realistic about what this city is worth, because the prices you pay, you could go live in New York in like a dump it just and pay just as much as you're paying for a dump in Boston and have a much more fulfilling life, in my opinion, because of what's out there. And everyone in New York that goes to New York is there for a reason, whereas I feel like a lot of people in Boston that transplant here, if they can't find work after they're leaving school, a lot of them leave. And then a lot of people who are natively from the area, they end up kind of wanting to go somewhere else because they've just been grinding so long here and there's not a lot of reward. But it's getting better, and I'm trying to be optimistic. I'm hoping this is the year, even though 2020 sucked in general for pretty much its entirety so far. I'm hoping kind of things level out and the creative community is allowed to kind of branch out and it's not the same gatekeeper names kind of holding people down. But you're going to experience that in like any major city. There's always going to be someone trying to kind of lead the way and control things in a way where it's a little limiting. At least for like what I do. What I do is not like, it's not even good enough to be hotel art. So it's a little bit harder for me to get walls here and like secure stuff compared to other cities where I can just kind of show up with friends and we'll have something to do, which is way cooler. And I also plan in the future to have lots of dogs, maybe some cats. That's a good one. Um, I don't know what else to add to this head. I think the head's like kind of done. I'm gonna outline it in gold because why not? Yeah, Boston's getting weirder and weirder every time I like think about it and what it used to be. But I'm hoping it gets better. I'm trying to be that positive guy, the dude that hands out high fives at the show. Like that's my 2020 goal. No more lurking in the corner. I think the Boston art community to come together. One, people that talk about doing work or like wanting to do work could do work. That would be nice. And then when people want to do collaborations, I feel like there's not enough people trying to share resources because it's such a competitive area for people to try to survive in as artists. Yeah, gold pen every day in a row, forever. But back to the Boston community, I think the other thing too is there's a lot of people that are really talented here that feel kind of outside of what the general art bubble is, and whether that be their personality or just circumstance, that's a huge problem. There's a lot of people, especially like near where I am. Like JP has obviously changed a lot, but areas in Roxbury and Dorchester don't get the exposure for people that do similar stuff to me. Oh, okay. Let me check. Maybe the phone is done. No, it says it's good. Give it a second. Maybe it might just need to kick back on. Yeah, it's frozen for me now too. Let me just double check the live feed. Sometimes it gets disconnected. Where would that feed be? Sorry guys, give me just a second. Some technical difficulties. Looks like the camera feed has just stopped for a second. So I just need to reconnect the air server. Please bear with me on that. Screen mirroring. Okay, so it should be working now. Let's see. Let me just double check, make sure the screen mirroring's up. One second. I gotta try this again. I think the screen mirroring is just not working right now. There we go. Okay, so we're back. I just gotta reset this up. Just give me 1 second. So the screen mirroring app just like kicked me out, so that sucks. I'm sorry, guys. And zoomed out a little bit and changed the angles and all that. um, Let me just check the live stream. All right, can you guys see it now? Yeah, I guess like it's more so for me like the local art scene. It's important to an extent because it's nice to have fellow artists, creatives, and peers that you can bounce ideas off of. Hey, it works. All right. Um, yeah, for me, like I like a lot of the people that I've met through Instagram and YouTube. I've actually met a lot of people through Instagram, which is crazy. Some of the like people that I'm closest friends with now are actually people I met from Instagram, and some of them are like halfway across the world, which is just mind-boggling to me. Whereas like in my local city, it's hard to get people together to try anything new. And I'm kind of like a weird person. I get that. I'm like I apparently intimidate people, which is fine. I don't I don't care that much, but like it's definitely a different vibe for sure when you can like hang out with people in person versus like just being online. And now everybody's kind of online. This goal is getting all messed up. What am I doing? Um, yeah, I don't know. Like the online art community is awesome because I can do what I want and I don't have to kind of explain what I'm doing. Whereas sometimes when I like hang out with artists in Boston that I don't know super well and they don't get my very overly sarcastic personality where I'm constantly joking and just trying to have a good time, they sometimes are like, "What are you making? What are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm just doing me." Anyone I follow on Instagram, you should follow on Instagram. That's the easiest way for me to say for a recommendation. Death P Sun, one of my favorites. Um, man, I'm so bad with handles. Maybe when I'm done with this stream, I'll go in my story and post a bunch of artists you guys should follow. But Death P Sun's always the one on the top of my head because his stuff is amazing, and I fan out a little bit for sure. It's just super fun and simple, and it's got just a great aesthetic. And there's cats, so if you're a cat person, Death P Sun, go follow Death P Sun. Who else? A lot of my close friends whose handles I'm like all of a sudden are just escaping me, and I feel awful. So I'll do a story afterwards with a bunch of people that I think people should follow and support for sure. But yeah, that's one for sure. I'm trying to think who else would be a good one. Oh, a bunch of the toy people I follow. Actually, let me grab a link real quick of a buddy of mine that was in a stream yesterday, but he's casting away tonight. I don't have any pets. I want pets. I just don't live in an apartment that I feel is good for animals and their safety. So I'm kind of I'm waiting until I live in a place where I can give them their best possible life. But I would own any type of pet from like goldfish to weird exotic scary lizards. I guess those are like aquatic. But yeah, no, I like it. I like all animals. I want a dog very badly. Also a big fan of cats. Weird rodents. Huge fan. I have worked in video production. When I was younger, I was obsessed with video and wanted to make my own films and horror movies. But life has a way of making things a little bit harder to access sometimes. And at the time, it was a little difficult for me to get equipment. It's a lot more accessible now, so I'm starting to get back into it. But I'd love to actually write and maybe direct some small short films about weird subcultures. Like that would be the ultimate for me. If I could just make weird, gritty, but kind of funny movies, I'd be all about it. Let's see. I'm trying to think of who was I following that I wanted to share tonight. I would get a Sphinx. They're interesting, but you have to be careful. Apparently, they can get sunburned and they get really greasy. An old neighbor of mine had one, and I'd always see it in the window, kind of sunbathing, and then my neighbor would have to come and take it out of the window because it would get sunburned all the time. So I think Sphinxes are cool. Their claws look really gross, and I'm really into it. They look pretty sweet. I can't think of an animal I wouldn't have as a pet, um, given the opportunity. But like no cages or anything. If I had like pets, that'd be the worst. I would not keep them in a cage. Like if I had rabbits, like there's no cage for the rabbit. This thing's just like it is what it is. It lives here. If you're not into it, get out. I'm trying to find that other person really quick. My neighbors, I think, are yelling at their new puppy outside. Yep, that's so. If you hear that in the background, yeah, it was sad. I felt so bad for that cat, but it just liked sitting out in the sun and it would get sunburned, and then they have to like treat its skin. And they have to take baths a lot, so they have to wash them constantly because their skin gets so greasy and oily. Like apparently, like you put like a brown paper bag down, and if they hadn't been washed in a certain amount of time, like they'd leave like a stain on it, which is the most crust punk thing I've ever heard. I have designed clothes. I actually had a clothing brand for a few years. Um, I don't talk about it a lot because it's not like my most favorite thing I've ever been a part of. But at the time, I had a hype brand called Daily Supply Company. There are still stickers all over the place around Boston, which is really funny to see. But basically, a lot of people started ripping off my original ideas, so I stopped producing and started designing for other companies because that's when I realized that if the stuff's good enough to get ripped off, it's good enough to sell to someone else or design for someone else. But it got me kind of into the screen printing world a bit, where I learned everything, and then I ended up actually screen printing more people's work than doing my own thing, which happens a lot for people who kind of figure things out. in a clothing brand, like for a clothing brand, they'll end up doing more work for other people than doing their own thing, and then they just turn into something else that they're no longer a clothing brand. Let's see. Okay, so the name Wolf Pits, I get this a lot. The name Wolf Pits actually was going to be a title of a graphic novel series I wanted to start about growing up in the hardcore scene, specifically with the kind of involvement of some of the hardcore gangs in the earlier 2000s. And that's kind of what the idea was, that the name was supposed to just be the Wolf Pit, talking about how savage that the inner scenes of music were at the time. And basically the idea was to illustrate comics about shows. And the six arms are the six arms are coming. I'm figuring it out. But yeah, basically I wanted to kind of like set up a way for people to share their experiences at shows, good and bad, and then kind of highlight it in that in like sort of a fictionalized way, and then also make like a weird supervillain type thing. So it was going to be a graphic novel that never happens, and I still like the name, and my name is used everywhere. So that's where Wolf Pits comes from. It was supposed to be the name of a graphic novel I'll probably never finish or even start. And also because my actual name, which is Ryan Taft, is used by a bunch of people because it's super common and very vanilla. And there's this life coach that has the handle Ryan Taft for everything. And I don't think he uses any of them. So it's the most infuriating thing ever. I don't know how to draw these arms. I guess they're gonna, he's gonna be like a spider head cat. Yeah, dude, I like the printing side. Like I could pull squeegee all day and find enjoyment in it. But where I was printing at the time was my old skate shop, and it was super hot in there. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. It's hard like when that happens, but to be honest, that just you got to use that as like a drive, because I've definitely had some experiences where I felt pretty shafted with brands that I've worked with for years. I've worked in retail a lot, so a lot of times things will come and be like, "Oh, can you design this thing?" And I'm very well capable of doing it, and they'll like work with a generic print shop or something to do something that could have been really cool, and it's a huge bummer. But you got to kind of just focus on letting your creativity kind of be expressed in another way where you don't have to worry about that company. You can do your own thing. So that was a huge goal for me this year, was to kind of like say no to projects I didn't want to do, and to kind of have oh, and there's the dog outside. Oh, kind of like do my own merch. Like that's what I want to do this year. Competition with Converse and other companies. I mean, not really. Like being a freelancer, like I kind of there's rules obviously and etiquette when it comes to working with a brand like that, where you can't really have a conflict of interest. So I didn't work on brands that were competitive in nature to Converse while I was there, but I think the brands themselves, like they're all competing for the same small specific group of people, and some of them do it better than others, and some of them kind of like know what's going to sell really well for a little while, and that's what they do to make the numbers. So when companies are public, it's a little bit harder for them to be authentic, in my opinion. But Converse has gotten a lot better with their approach to a lot of things in subcultures that they profit off of, and they do a lot for communities. So I was pretty stoked to work for them, and just because like they're not like an inclusive company that is awful like some other brands out there. Uh, Not giving any names, but I'm sure you guys are aware that there's companies that have bad business practices, and Converse really isn't one of them. When it comes to like a peer-to-peer level, and like the people I worked with were awesome, but it is still a corporation, and it has the pitfalls of being a corporation. They're owned by Nike, so a lot of the bad things that happen at Nike were happening at Converse, at least to people like me that were contracted. So, but it's not like the end of the world. It wasn't that big a deal. I had designs and stuff that were like passed over, and it's like it is what it is. Wait, what? Oh no, I could wear Nikes to work. I actually like wore Nikes more because I have a lot of injuries in my ankle and my foot, and there's a little bit more options. So it was okay to like it was definitely cool to wear Nikes if you had to while you were at work. No one really seemed to care. It's not like I was like going in with Vans or something and like fuck this place. But yeah, I don't know. I had like a interesting relationship with Vans when I was younger, and then like things obviously they change as you get older and you work with other companies. But I definitely think Converse is a cool company. If you ever have the opportunity to work with or for Converse at any point, I say go for it because everyone's super rad. Um, I will say though, if you're a contracted person, expect to be treated slightly differently. Not because they intend to, just because that's kind of just how things fall into place when you work for a company like that and you're contracted. It's a lot different than being a full time employee or like a salaried employee. These six arms, man, they're throwing me for a loop right now. All right. Yeah, and I guess like as far as like shoes go, I still wear a lot of the same stuff I used to wear when I was younger. I wear less Vans just because I had been working for Nike brands for the last like 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. So that's kind of like why I still wear like a lot of the Nikes, and like I like the Nike classic stuff. I did the Air Max Day. I was supposed to do Air Max Day this year. Is it Mario's Pizza is at my door? Oh, did that like just show up? Weird. You should order pizza. It's great. Where's that coming up? Oh, it's probably just popped up on my phone. Forgot to turn that off. Um, well, that's interesting. Is it still on there? No. Okay. Yeah, pizza party forever. I actually got a nice sandwich today instead, and it was great. Because I always like start the stream and I'm like starving, so I'm like I'm gonna eat before I start the stream tonight. So I'm not like, yeah. I keep making the I'm gonna order pizza joke every stream, and that's just hilarious that that showed up. Yeah, I think yesterday I had my phone on airplane mode, and I forgot to do that today. So yeah, man, getting pizza. Okay, so now I gotta like come back and fix all these mistakes I just made, and I'm just gonna cut back with the white gel pen again. Yeah, so usually I'll have a portfolio for clients. I did do a lot of NDA work the last few years. It wasn't a pizza; it was a caprese sandwich. But if I were to order a pizza, it's typically I'm pretty classic. I'm like a pepperoni slice guy, or like I'll do something gross like buffalo chicken or something. But yeah, no, for the portfolio thing, yeah. So I had a portfolio that I usually submit to clients, or if it's a specific type of client, I have multiple portfolios that I'll give to the client for that specific type of work, because not every client I work with is a skateboard or subculture brand. And I need to have my generic kind of brochure stuff. But I got to redo that because I actually lost a bunch of hard drives, like the last, what was that, like 2 years ago. So I lost a lot of my old work, which really sucks, and I'm slowly recovering it. And now everything is backed up to the cloud. There was like a flood and it destroyed a bunch of old hard drives. So I'm actually working on building a new website now with more like modern work. And plus a lot of the stuff that I lost at the time, I was devastated, but I can't be too worried about it because I'm onto much more advanced styles and whatnot now. All right, there it is. There's a Sphinx head with a bunch of weird legs that don't look like legs. Yeah, I do art trades kind of a lot. I don't have a lot of original pieces at the moment, but I'm working on it. I'm always down for art trades or like sticker trades for sure. Definitely. I think it's like the best way to actually meet other people is like I like sending people letters. It's kind of cool. I don't have like an address I'm going to give out public, but maybe if this continues and people are into it, maybe we'll like set up some weird PO box where we can send stuff back and forth. I actually have a sketchbook in here somewhere. I think, yeah, nope, not that one. It's somewhere in this room. I can't find it. It's not in arm's reach. But I have a sketchbook that I send back and forth with my friend Shan, who's in the UK. So she'll draw some pages and send it back to me. I'll draw some pages in it and I'll send it back to her. And we send it back and forth. And it's usually like she sent it to me like 6 months ago. I got to finish some drawings and send it back to her. So I'm getting a little package together for her and sending it out. But I actually would love to try to do a big project where I have a bunch of artists get together and start one sketchbook. I draw a few pages, send it to the next person, they draw a few pages, and just keep sending it on and on. And then hopefully they can record their drawings or something. Yeah, man, hit me up. I'd be down to do some art trades. I don't have like I said, nothing original right now, but like I have some stickers and stuff I don't mind trading. And if I get more original stuff, I'll start doing that. I don't do prints. No one ever buys my prints, so everyone's like, do prints, and then I'll do prints, and then I have like 400 prints that go nowhere. And yeah, so I like do all my print stuff like on demand, or I do like really planned runs if I'm going to do prints. Yeah, though I'm always down to do trades. Definitely hit me up if I have the time to actually make original work. I'll do it. I have a few collabs in the pipeline right now. So I have 6 collaborations that I'm supposed to be working on, which I should be working on, but I just keep getting distracted. So I'm going to finish up a few of those, and once I'm done with a few of those collaborations that I've been working on, I'm definitely going to be down to do more trades. Service? Yeah, look, I've done some stuff before. I've done some trades when I can afford to do it. If I have the time to do it and it's like mutually beneficial for both parties, I'm usually down to do that for sure. I am pretty independent when it comes to doing a lot of this stuff, but it's just the lack of having equipment around and all that. So yeah, I'm always down if it's like a mutually beneficial thing. Like as long as they're getting just as much out of it, I'm always down to do it, because I always like, some people are like, oh, I'd love to do this thing for you. And I'm like, I don't know what I can do for you that's as valuable for what you're doing for me. So I try to like limit it, and I just take it on a case by case basis. And if it works for both parties, then yeah, for sure. But if it's like one of those things where it feels a little one-sided, and even if I'm like getting the sweeter end of the deal, I try not to do that stuff. I don't want to overwork people. Yeah, hit me up on Instagram. Right now, that's the best way to do it. I am looking into the Discord server as another option where people can kind of private message me ideas or like collab hit ups and stuff like that, or trades. As far as trades go, like for merch, like I'm just kind of keeping it pretty low cost. I don't want people to spend a lot of money and time if they're doing merch either, just because like I know that's like a hard thing to kind of part with. So stickers are always cool. I'm not really sure how to set it up yet. I think I got to monetize on YouTube. I do have the Wolf Pits website up where I do have merch that you can purchase. It does help out, but everything right now is priced at cost. And for my main website right now, that's actually Shopify. For the mobile app for my portfolio websites, I use Squarespace, but those are currently down at the moment until I have time to put the new work up. So I'm actually trying to find a new domain because the ryantaft.com is taken. and wolfpits.com is the merch store for all my like toy stuff right now. So wolfpits.com is up, and I have everything on there is at cost. I'm not making any money on it. I'm making money back, but that's just because coronavirus has kind of like messed things up for me. So I got to clear out a lot of inventory. To donate to the channel, though, I might set up like a little PayPal thing, which I also super thankful that you even want to donate. That's awesome. But yeah, I'm not sure how to do that yet. I know Twitch has an option, so that's why people have been asking how they can donate, and they've been suggesting Twitch. I have a Patreon as well, but I have nothing really set up on there. I have like the sticker club I'm working on, where I'll like do new stickers each month. So you can support me on Patreon, which there should be a link to it in my YouTube channel page, and I'll probably post more of that stuff too. I gotta get better about that. But yeah, those are like the best ways. I know, yeah, coronavirus has messed up a lot of things. I'm really bummed. Air Max Day, I was so excited for it. We made some sick shoes, and we can't even show them to anyone yet. So they're gonna just sit for a couple months, and then anyone that worked on it, they're gonna be like, "Man, I wish we did this now." But yeah, I got that poster too, which I don't know if I've shown the final poster yet. I think I did like had it in an Instagram story, but I haven't like posted a picture of it. So maybe I'll do that in the next tour video I do of the studio space. And then I'm also thinking about doing some other kind of behind the scenes content of my more personal paintings that I don't share that much, which I'm always nervous to show to anyone. But, I gotta get over it and just kind of like share the stuff I'm making more naturally, the stuff that I enjoy making. It's a bit more abstract and it's more painterly for sure. And it doesn't really make much sense, but I like really simplistic color palettes and weird textures when I'm painting. So all the stuff when I'm painting, I use sand and like resin sands and stuff like that to paint. So stuff like that's a little weird to show, but maybe I'll do that in some future videos. Yeah, so 3 pages into this sketchbook. This is a new sketchbook. We got the Sphinx with the 6 kitty arms that looks real weird. I'm into it. I think I'll let's see. I'm gonna throw an alphabet underneath it just to end the night, and then I'll keep answering you guys' questions. Get the brush ready. Yeah, I'm glad you had fun. I'm actually like really enjoying the live streaming. I didn't think I was going to at first because I'm kind of cute to myself and I'm like a bit of a like cave dweller, but this has been pretty rad and everyone's been super fun. So it's fun to have the conversations with people and kind of hang out. Once I figured the Discord server stuff, I think it might be even more fun because people can post and share photos and all that, and links to what they're working on, which I'd love to see at the same time. I'd love to see if you guys are drawing at the same time, like what you're making while I'm drawing. And my plan for now with the live streams is just to kind of keep filling up this sketchbook, I guess. I'm going to draw on it probably on my own time as well, and then like we'll do live streams and I'll let people either suggest, like you suggested tonight, to draw this, or I'll just try to be more prepared with prompts and stuff for the next stream. I think I was going to share something I forgot. I'm like losing my train of thought. I'm trying to get better about it. I feel like I'm constantly just rambling because I don't know what to say. But yeah, no, it's nice to like talk to people other than really no one, because it's the coronavirus. Like I'll talk to my roommates and stuff, but I see them in passing, so like everyone's super busy. All right, sick. We got a little cat spider tag on there. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna stay on for like a few more minutes. So if you guys have any questions, I'll wait for this to kind of clear up. I'll type it down in there, and then I'm thinking I'm gonna end the stream at 8:15. Let's see. That's sick. You should share your scorpion. Send me like a photo of it. I'd love to see it. I'm not sure how bad the latency is today. Sometimes the audio recording that I'm saying now is delayed by a few minutes or a few seconds. So I'm just going to type in. You might be getting this now by the time I finish typing it. So I'll have to take a photo of what I used to hang my phone. It's a simple iPhone mount and a GoPro mount that I modded together with some like simple hardware, and then it's on an overhead uh, light stand or backdrop stand, like a really cheap one from Amazon. And I hang my GoPro on there and my phone, and then I run power across the top. I'm actually working on a studio tour video. Um, yeah, so hang on, let me make a note of that. I'll make sure in the next video that I'm doing, it won't be a live stream, it'll be like a regular YouTube studio tour. I'll do a whole like setup and how I set up my camera gear. Like I said, it's all smoke and mirrors here at the Wolf Pit studio. Everything is very janky. I made it myself, or I found a way to take something that's used for something else and make it work for me. But yeah, it's really simple. It gives good results, but it's literally my iPhone in a small, like inexpensive, cheap stand up above, my GoPro, and then there's just this rail that it's on, and it's a little wobbly, so you might see that it shakes a lot. But yeah, that's what it is. I don't have a schedule set for streams. I'm trying to shoot for like 6:30 every day, or a little bit earlier if I can. So like, if you guys have a preferred time, I'll try to keep a schedule if it's easier. If I can do like times like 5:30 ish and then forward, that works pretty good for me. I'm pretty open for right now, and obviously the world's like shut down. So what else am I doing? So I try to work a few hours earlier on in the day, and I don't really sketch that much unless it's client related, but I have like no clients right now. So I'm working on my new website, and then I'll start trying to get a more consistent schedule, and I'll post it across my social media. It's Wolf Pits for Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. I'm going to start posting it all at once a few hours before, and then once I have a schedule worked out, because this is the first week, I will have a consistent schedule where I know which days I'm going to stream or what time every day I'm going to stream if I do it every day. So I'll have that up there on like a public space, and once the Discord server is figured out, I'll also have a calendar on there where people can kind of suggest things and whatnot. But yeah, guys, that's going to probably do it for tonight's stream. If you have any questions, you can always hit me up on Instagram. DMs are open also on Twitter, which I don't use as much, but we'll use it. Yeah, peace out. Thanks for joining the stream. Definitely, yeah, hit me up. We'll figure some stuff out for sure. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for tonight's stream. Like I said, if you guys have any questions that I didn't get to, we can either save them for the next stream, or you can hit me up if it feels a bit more urgent or you're just curious on either on Twitter or on Instagram at WolfPits. Yeah, I guess that's gonna do it for tonight's stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll probably be back tomorrow. I'm planning around 6:30 as well. All right, guys. Peace out. Yeah, man. You have a good night too.